Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it was our fault. We made a mistake. Spotter said it was clear. It wasn't clear, and, I didn't want to tear my car up, tear his car up either. I respect everybody, and I demand respect. And, I apologized to the guy when he came over the car, explained to him what happened, and then he took it to another level when he started calling me an idiot and whatever else. And I don't appreciate that. I'm not going to take it. I told him how I felt. I called him out. He didn't show. And so, I'm good with it if he's good with it, but I'm not going to be disrespected by no means.
Yeah, I guess I had a dinner date at Applebee's last night that I didn't find out until it was too late. It's a shame. I love their riblets and boneless wings, but...
All right, folks, welcome back to Meet Me at Applebee's, your number one unrefined motorsports podcast. It's Brien here with Rob and Ashley, and we have Atlanta to catch up on here. Truelove was at the track, and Rob and I both watched it from home. So, folks, how we doing this week?
Doing pretty good. Just finally got dug out of about 1.5 feet of snow up here. We didn't get hit as bad as some places in New England, but still very annoying, and my back hates me now. But that's the perks of being an old man. Would have much rather been down in beautiful Hampton, Georgia, with Truelove watching that race, because it was killer from home, and I assume that it was even better in person. How was it, Truelove? How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I mean, Atlanta always is so much fun in person since the reconfiguration, so I had a blast. My throat feels a little fucked up from the wind and the cold, but
the salt from the sea lion tank.
Yep. So all three were great races this weekend.
Yes, they were.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Saturdays, I think, were the two best ones. I mean, Sunday was great, too, but... Yeah. Well, we'll get into that in a second here. Or now.
You can get into it now if you want to.
Say, or now. We might as well do that. So, yeah, it was just
nothing between here and there now, but
just the three main series, and weather going into the weekend was going to be a factor. We all kind of knew that. And Saturday it was supposed to rain, and then Sunday it was supposed to be very cold and windy, which both of those things were true. But thankfully, it didn't really affect the schedule too much. Truck race was pushed back about an hour or so, and really the only unfortunate thing that came out of that was because of the TV windows, with the Xfinity I'm fucking it up already. O'Reilly series running at 5 o'clock.
Series, yeah.
Nationwide series on two different networks. What they did was they put a time limit on the truck race to 4:20, which hell yeah, bro. Yeah. That time, and really, at the end of the race, it only cut off like somewhere between 5 and 10 laps, maybe. More or less. Yeah. Which, as the race is going on, it's like, why don't you just let them go? And, they can't really do that. God forbid there's a caution or whatever, and it screws everything up. So it's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it didn't really affect too much because we got, 90% of the race in, and the race was great. A lot of different movement all over the field. Stuart Friesen was up leading for a while. Kyle Busch, I forget where he started, but he was up there. He had Stenhouse up there, John Hunter Nemechek. I don't know. I can't really remember much as far as like very notable moments in the race, but it was just great. Just super tight racing, a lot of passes, and Kyle Busch ended up getting the win thanks to his teammate for the day, Carson Hocevar, who, not to say he wasn't trying for the win himself, but he said that his truck at the end of the race was starting to overheat a bit, and he lost some power, so all he could really do was help push his teammate to the win. And which was cool to see. I mean, obviously, we know Kyle's had his struggles over the years, or the last couple years, rather, and to see him get a win in anything is nice. And anything that's not a Legends car, because that seems to be the only thing he'd win in these days. But
yeah. I mean, there was a lot of great slicing and dicing at the end of that one, and the move that actually brought Kyle Busch to the front was pretty incredible. Yeah. Hocevar had a couple of his own, finding a lane and making a lane and finding a hole and just. Yeah, that kid's fucking tenacious, and Spire Truck's getting 1-2 there. I loved the shit out of that. I just wanted a little bit more. I'm not a fan of the timer thing. I get why they do it, but I don't know. I've seen some people getting kind of pissed off about it, but what are you gonna do?
I was like, oh well, CW must have like a tight TV window where they have to get something on afterwards that's like a live sporting event or something, and it was just a rerun of WWE Legend Profiles.
Perfect.
With Stone Cold. So,
well, that is important.
I mean, I did watch a little bit of it while I was cooking dinner, and it was pretty good, but still.
Also in the race, we had Adam Andretti, which who did never even heard of this one.
Really?
No. Why would I know who he is? Like, why would I know?
He raced in Trans Am for a long time.
Yeah,
he kind of got out of the.
Do I look like a Trans Am fan? Come on. No.
Made his truck debut at 46 years old. So.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I did not realize he was that old. But
he spun on lap 15, but he still finished 12th. So
yeah, he was all over the track for the first few laps, and spun by himself. But then backed off, and then was able to just run consistently in the back and figure things out. And got a top 12 out of it, which is pretty good for first time out there, especially at a plate track.
Man.
So
did better than Marco did, if I remember correctly. So there's that.
that's probably true. And then I guess because both Rob and I missed this, but apparently David Reagan made a little appearance there at some point.
He did the prayer, the pre-race prayer. Just
that's why I missed it.
No wonder I missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he do a good job?
I don't know. I don't know anything about prayers.
Yeah. Well, I guess. I don't have to go back and watch that. That seems like a lot of effort.
That's fine. But then after the race, so Kyle Busch was celebrating, and Carson Hocevar, he just wanted to go over and congratulate his teammate. It was a bit awkward, but there was a cool photo of them shaking hands in the trucks that was taken. But then everybody thought they were doing dual burnouts, but all he did was just spin his truck around and then drive off. So, Kyle Busch begrudgingly accepted the help afterwards. And it was like the Bloods and the Crips working together.
Now they're friends, apparently.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Well, in trucks, I guess.
Truck friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was killer. I hope they got a good angle of the guys reaching out the windows and dapping each other up, because that was cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to find the pic for the post, because there was one photo that was really, really good. So. That brings us to the next race, the O'Reilly Series, and so Carson Kvapil, he drives the JRM Arby's car, and he had a full meat suit, which I think
that thing was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
I think NASCAR Chasm on Twitter called him the Meat Rocket, and the Arby's Twitter account endorsed that. That name, so now we gotta think of that.
First it was the Mayo Missile, now we got the Meat Rocket.
Yeah, so
I love it.
Can't wait to see what they come up with for Dale's jerky machine when he sponsors cars.
So onto the race itself. We had a terrorist in the field by the name of Corey Day.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually see the first wreck because I was walking the dogs, and I just had it, in my earbuds. But I guess he kind of caused a wreck on lap 5 that took out both Sieg brothers and a couple other cars. Harrison Burton, I know, was involved.
Yeah, he just stuffed his nose in where it didn't belong at that moment, getting a little too aggressive for lap 5 of I don't know how many hundreds of laps. Oh, at least 100. 5 is early for any race, unless it's a 5-lap heat. So. But that wasn't the end of it for Corey, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he later on, the big one was he got into Kvapil, who was leading, and he was second or third. And it was a weird move because, when you first see it, it looks like he almost just missed the turn. It wasn't like he just tapped him. He really got in the side of him. And on the radio, he claimed that he had a tire going down and he didn't know until he actually got in the turn. Which
I don't believe that.
I mean, I can kind of believe it because
it looked like that.
It looked bad enough to where it just didn't. Him doing it on purpose was like, why would you do that?
We've also seen Corey Day pull some tire going down moves when he didn't have one going down.
Well,
so
all right, well then,
yeah,
that
the evidence is not on his side.
Okay.
I was mostly just annoyed by that wreck because it cost us a possible meat suit in the victory lane.
Yeah.
And then it immediately gave Austin Hill the lead. So,
yes, it did.
2 losses there.
Yeah, we were all officially signed up for the Send Corey Day Back to California fan club. Is that a fan club? Or is it that's like a change.org petition?
In the pits, we had Taylor Gray running over one of his tire carriers. I guess the tire started to get loose, and he jumped to grab it, and Taylor had to get out of the pits and ran the guy over. But being that these are all football players, that guy managed to get up, and he was fine. So no harm, no foul. Meanwhile, back on the track, obviously none of us were surprised to see the RCR cars up front. No. Austin Hill, though, didn't have the best day all day. Like, I think he started more mid-pack than he normally would. But he was battling with his
20th.
teammate. So he had to kind of work his way up there. But again, it was no shock to see him up there at some point. But when he was up there, he was battling pretty hard with Jesse Love and bitching on the radio about him. Also, while these two were dueling it out, my boy Sheldon Creed had his first great move of the race where he dove underneath the two of them while they're battling back and forth. And
that was fucking killer.
Almost caused a huge wreck, but pulled it off and took the lead for a moment. And wouldn't be the only highlight of the race, but we'll get to that in a second. Towards the end of the race, this one obviously went the full distance. Last few laps, there were a couple cautions, and was it a green, white checkered, or was it just like a late caution with a few laps to go? I know there was a brief
6 to go restart.
Yeah, there was a brief red flag when a few cars wrecked, and they had to clean that up, and they wanted to save the race. So after the red flag, it set up the top 4 were Hill, Chastain, Creed, and I forget who the 4th guy was, but it doesn't really matter because the other 3 are the ones that matter in this conversation. Last lap, coming off at 2, Sheldon Creed pushed Ross Chastain, on the backstretch. This gave him a hell of a run to try to pass Austin Hill. Austin Hill, obviously he's great at blocks and controlling the front of the pack, but Ross was too fast and he already had too much of a run. Austin went down to block and spun off the front of Ross's bumper. This, to me, can kind of be viewed as a racing deal. Like, obviously, we obviously know we know Ross doesn't have a problem driving through people, but at the same time, like, it wasn't like he spun him. Like, it was just, Austin came down on him when he had a run, and it was too late, and he didn't lift. But give credit to Austin. He saved the car, didn't wreck anybody else, and managed to come home with a 12th place finish. So, again, all this shit talking in the world, he's still a great driver at these tracks and managed to save himself and everybody else in the field. But this gave the win, finally, to Sheldon Creed. His first ever O'Reilly Series win after 15 second-place finishes. He was the leader in second-place finishes without a win. He had the second most laps led without a win, and those records are gone because now he's a winner. So
how much did you win, Brien?
So it's funny because I almost forgot to bet on him. I was placing like last-minute bets. I was like, oh shit, I didn't put one on Creed. So I put 35 cents down and won $4.55. So finally, I was able to return. I'm only down like $90 now. $341. But yeah, this was awesome. This was the first time since Ross made the slide job on Byron last year at the 600 that I was jumping and screaming. Like, I literally jumped, and my dog was so confused.
Well, this was a finish custom built for you specifically. Ross Chastain being involved and handing Sheldon Creed his first career Xfinity win, O'Reilly win, whatever the fuck. Put one in the swear jar. And also, my favorite moment of the entire race, of course, the Haas team been whittled down pretty severely since Tony Stewart and gang left, and now it's the Haas factory team, and really the Xfinity team is the only really fast one out there. Any win for that organization is a big one. They came home with 2 pretty clean cars after a pretty rough race. Great night for the boys. And as a result, Sam Mayer decided to drive down and, give Sheldon a little door slam. As he's doing this, he misses the pit entrance and decides to cut across the grass and proceeds to rip the fucking splitter off the front of the car.
Oh, it wasn't even. It was the whole fucking front end of the car was destroyed. The whole clip.
Dude's a hazard, that thing.
And to answer everyone's question, it's still real grass at Atlanta. It's not AstroTurf.
It is.
And unfortunately, the boys probably got some overtime. So a little bit of a damper on the celebrations there, because I'm sure it's going to be a whole house effort to get that car put back together. But congratulations to the Haas boys, and happy for you, Brien. It's not even Sheldon's first win ever. You forget that he used to win a decent amount.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm staring at the Truck Series Championship diecast I have on my shelf of his. So
yeah, Sheldon.
But it's been 5 years since he's won anything since he moved up to this series. So
he's no slouch, and happy to see him break through. I think we're all Sheldon folks here.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to the booth for just an incredible call. Really, the whole race, their energy and their chemistry is just unmatched, and really just adds so much to the whole race experience.
Yeah, I don't think there's
the
any
opposite
question.
Of Cup.
Yeah, they're the best in the
truck.
business right now. There's no question about that.
Yeah. Also, too, I listened to Door Bumper Clear, and they texted. One of them had texted Sam about that, and he said he was in the shop with the guys helping. So what he was doing, I don't know, but he claims he was there
helping, air
so.
quotes.
Yeah, picking up sandwiches, answering the phone.
Sweeping up grass.
Yeah, picking grass out of the splitter. Such a funny fucking moment, though.
Yeah. So this leads us to Sunday, and before we get to Truelove's recollection of her day, before we even got to the track, so Chase Briscoe did this week's 12 Questions series on The Athletic with Jeff Gluck, and one of the questions, I forget what the exact question was, but something about maybe improving tracks or something, I don't fucking know, but he brought up the fact that he doesn't like the piss troughs at Atlanta, and he thinks that we're a top series track, and why do we have these? So
what if a CEO saw that was the gist of it, and that just rubs me I like Chase Briscoe, but this man, I'm gonna sound like I'm on at a political debate right now. This man has never eaten a hot dog. This man has never drank a beer. And this man's too scared to line up next to the good old boys and take a piss into a bucket, as God intended. Now, look, they're gross. No one ever said the trough was a pleasant experience, but it is a rite of passage and also the most efficient way to drain beer out of bodies at the racetrack. And y'all know I'm on Team Trough. Everyone knows that. This has been established. And
yeah, we are Trough Nation here at Meet Me at Applebee's.
Yeah, I wish the fucking ladies had a trough. I know it's really not possible, but I wish you guys could have that. But
I mean, Chase is a Midwest dirt racer. He should be used to this by now.
He should be used to the trough. And also Indy still has troughs. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, arguably the nicest facility on planet Earth, besides Daytona. They still have troughs because of, guess what? Tradition. So there you go.
Briscoe also said that he didn't like the Atlanta restrooms didn't have doors on their stalls. They only had curtains. So when he said that, I was like, man, I got to go get someone on the inside to go check out these bathrooms.
Yes.
So I thought, well, Kyle's not there this weekend, but I remember that Ross was there cooking. So I sent him on a mission to get a garage bathroom update for us, and he sent a picture. Obviously this is before the weekend really starts, so they look clean. The troughs were clean, but he said that they did at least get doors on the stalls, so no more curtains. So
yeah, I guess I do kind of agree with the curtain thing. I'm not a big fan of some Dollar General shower curtain keeping me from the outside world at the most compromising of moments, but also don't shit at the racetrack unless you have to.
Yeah, listen, in all my years, I don't think I've ever done that. In 30-something years of going to races.
Not in a brick and mortar stall. There's no question about that. Truelove, where did you go? Where the ladies' room had? That was Anderson, wasn't it? That they had the shower curtains.
Yes, that was Anderson.
Yeah.
The heat of the summer.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Those were very tiny bathrooms too. So.
And I think to close this discussion out, I mean, we've all been going to races of all levels for many, many years, particularly, cup races. And I don't think the state of any bathroom on the circuit, regardless of the track, regardless of the day, I don't think it ever is in too good a shape by the end of the day. So I think a CEO is going to be sticking his penny loafers and piss at the end of the day, no matter what happens. So that's a moot point. And I believe Johnny Morris is a trough guy too. I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't understand how Briscoe is the face of Bass Pro Shops now, but
yeah,
here we are.
Well, speaking of Atlanta and their bathrooms, that's a hell of a segue, but Truelove was on the property. She was there for the cup race, and I'm excited to hear all about it.
Yeah. I went on Sunday. I mean, I don't have much to say. I'll just kind of go through my day, and then we'll talk about the actual race afterwards. But, I mean, with Atlanta, it's my local track, so it's not like a big weekend to do. It's, a day trip, a couple hours away, so it's kind of get in, get out. But went down with my brother and his girlfriend, Riley. It was her first race ever, and my boyfriend, Andy. And then we were meeting up with some people at the track. But before we went to the track, we stopped at this place called Old Hickory House, right outside of Atlanta. It's a barbecue place. It's been there forever. Back in the 70s, they had like 4 of these around Atlanta. And there was one that was south of Atlanta that is where the Smokey and the Bandit scene with the Diablo sandwich and Dr. Pepper was filmed. But unfortunately, that one has been torn down since then. So this is the last remaining one of that chain. So thought we'd stop in there and get some breakfast. And when I walk in, they had the, infamous Winston poster with Tim Richmond's dick hanging out. So this is a good sign to start the day.
It's always a good sign when you see that.
Yep. And also one of the best biscuits I've ever had in my life. So I highly recommend it. We ended up getting to the track a little later than I wanted to. So my plan was to get there and go around to all the merch haulers and just kind of see all the new merch for the year and buy some shit. But since we got there late, the fan zone area was so fucking packed, and I did not want to stand in line or deal with DARFs in that moment. So didn't buy anything. I did see that Chris Rice was doing a signing at the Ram trailer, but there was no line for that. So
yeah. Wonder why.
Yeah. Met up with my buddy Eric. He lives in Canada. He comes down for races a lot. And then our friends Clinton and Ray, who live in Georgia, who we always hang out with at Atlanta too. So just hung out at their car and drank some beers and caught up. I think the wind that day was the worst out in the parking lot in the fan zone. So
yeah, it was like 20, 30 miles an hour or something like that. That's what they're saying on the broadcast. It looked pretty heavy.
Yeah. And it was chilly, but the sun was shining, so that helped a ton. I will say brushing my hair afterwards when I got home was so painful. Any long-haireds, y'all know.
Yep. I gotta say, I feel like maybe skipping the fan zone and getting the parking lot beer drinking in is probably a better first experience, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kind of a quintessential rite of passage for someone's first trip to the racetrack. But
and then when it was time to go in, we kind of moved in a little late too. So by then the fan zone had cleared out, but I was ready to get inside the track. But I was like, well, we at least got to swing by the sea lions and see if they're still out there.
Yes.
So we beelined over to the sea lion tanks, and there was no one out there, but the sea lions were still there. They were swimming
signing
around.
autographs.
Yep, just hanging out in their tanks, and then they would do their little whatever signal that they have to them, and they'd pop up go do a photo op with someone and they get right back in the water. It kind of made me think of like when you're in a hot tub and then you get out and it's freezing cold, and then they just couldn't wait to get back in the water where it's probably warmer.
Yeah. Did you all know that sea lions, that was actually optimal temperature for them?
Well,
High
these sea
40s.
lions live in Texas, so I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe they're acclimated. And also they use their little flippers to cool off. So when you probably saw them last time you were there when it was 400 degrees.
Probably, yeah.
And they're waving their
around.
little arms around. That's how they cool off. So some sea lion facts here at Meet Me at Applebee's. That will not be a regular segment, but
Just after every Atlanta race.
exactly. I hope they come back. I hope if I ever get to Atlanta, I hope they're still there because I want to see these guys.
So normally in Atlanta, we will buy the cheap seats and then go find empty, better seats on the front stretch and just sit wherever. But for this race, the entire front stretch was packed to the gills. So we couldn't find any empty seats until like further down at the exit of turn 4. So that's where we sat.
Yeah, that was noticeable on television as well. Just how many people were on the property. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. They they're supposed to do a moment of silence for Greg Biffle on lap 16, but they accidentally did it on lap 15. So it was a good start to the race.
It's Mikey's lap.
Yep. As far as like people sitting around us, I mean, it was kind of tame. There were some guys that were standing up for like the first 10 laps, and I thought, oh no, are they going to stand the whole race? But they sat down. So there were also 2 young children sitting in front of us who were very young. They're probably like, I would say 4 or 5 years old, like brothers, and one had on a Larson shirt and one had on a Bubba shirt. So maybe the world is healing.
The world is
I don't
healing.
know.
It is.
And then behind us was a group of 4 like morbidly obese old dudes who are like straight out of the Facebook comment section. Who
The all caps boys.
they were just talking shit on Bubba the entire time. And our entire row were diehard Bubba fans, so it was a little back and forth there throughout the race. But
Well, both of those kids went home disappointed, didn't they?
well, the one in the license shirt slept the entire race, and then once it started getting cold, they left early. So
I'm glad he didn't have to see that.
yeah. Yeah, we had a couple friends pop in. Ross, who, is working doing track house chef stuff now. He came out to the grandstands to see us. He couldn't come out to the final stage because he had to, I guess, deliver fruit at the end of stage 2.
Wow.
But he came out stage 3 and sat with us and drank a couple Busch Lights since he gets those from the sponsor now.
That's not a bad sponsor to have.
Yeah, so it was good to see him.
I'd like to have him on here if he's able to at some point. I'd be very curious to hear what that job is like.
Yeah, we'll have to work that out.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Told him he's gonna start giving us weekly bathroom reports too. So
Yes.
yep. Let's see. Also, a friend of the program, Jay, was supposed to come out because he was there doing Kyle Petty charity ride stuff, but he said it was too cold. So what the hell, Jay?
Where's Jay?
Yeah, where's Jay?
Where's Jay?
But yeah, I mean, the weather in the grandstands was fine because the sun at Atlanta sets directly in front of you, so the sun is hitting you the whole time you're sitting there. So that kind of warmed us up until those final couple overtimes that went on forever.
Yeah.
And the sun went down and it got brutally cold. But there was probably top 2 or 3 racetrack sunsets that I've ever seen in person. So
I gotta say, that is one of my favorite moments of the year is that golden hour at Atlanta. It's just so pretty. I can't imagine what it's like in person, but just the way it looked on TV, just glowing orange. It's so cool. I imagine it's probably a little tough to see for everybody involved at the facility.
There's definitely a window where you're just like staring into the sun, but
yeah.
And in the summer it's brutal, but
right.
The spring race is it's nice. I think that's about it, really, until we start talking about a little bit of race highlights. I mean,
yeah. So what happened? Tyler Reddick started on the pole. Qualifying was canceled. We forgot to mention that. So basically, everyone essentially retained their positions from the finishing order of the Daytona 500. I think that's kind of how it works. And either way, that put Tyler Reddick at the front, which he's not really known as being much of a plate racer, right?
Well, I mean, you say that, but then you can look back at his stats, and he's won a bunch. So
it's true.
He's kind of won everywhere at this point.
He's the man.
Yeah.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. First highlight on here that we have written down is Ty Gibbs setting himself on fire. Truelove, did you have a good seat for that?
I did. Luckily he wrecked right out of turn 4, so I got to sit there and watch all the grass around his car catch on fire, and then watch the safety crew pull him out and just set him into the fire. So,
what an interesting juxtaposition. Like, you get, the day before, Sam Mayer driving through wet-ass grass and destroying his car, and then the next day, Ty crashes in a dry patch and catches his car on fire. So, they gotta work on that.
I saw reports that they do a big fireworks show after the race too, and I saw reports that some of the woods around where the fireworks were set off caught on fire. But
yeah, there was a fire.
I haven't confirmed that. So
I saw photos of a pretty big fire, kind of going out of the racetrack. Yeah. I had not heard it was because of the fireworks, though.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
One can put 2 and 2 together, I think.
What else do we have for race highlights?
I got to see some cool graphics while.
Oh yeah, you didn't get to experience this, Truelove.
I did not.
Of course, we already gave our flowers to the CW team and the great job they did. I will say that the Fox broadcast, despite its warts, has improved exponentially over past years. It's been a lot easier to watch, despite Clinton, Kevin Harvick, or Keelan Harvick's dad, I guess we can call him now. Just bickering all the time, and Mike Joy slowly sliding off into dementia. But
I'm praying that Clinton and Kevin get in a fight by the end of the season. That would really make my day.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Yeah. Put it in the fan zone for us all to see. But yeah, again, an improved product, I think, overall. But whoever is running the graphics department, whether it's AI or an intern, continuing just a real half-assed job. Of course, there was a graphic that got thrown on the screen when it became evident that Tyler Reddick was in the frame to win this race. And they mentioned a couple guys. David Pearson was the last guy to win. Well, not the last guy, but Matt Kenseth was the last guy to win the first 2 races of the season. Jeff Gordon, David Pearson, big-time names, right? And at the top of the list, back in 1957, was an unheard-of driver named Marvin Fanch, which I said this to you guys before the show started. This was a race that had a lot going on. There were a lot of moments where my phone was red hot from text messages and Discord messages, whatever the fuck, just discussing what was happening. But nothing got a bigger response than them misspelling Marvin Fanch's name, or Marvin Fanch. Now I'm saying his fucking last name wrong because of this stupid graphic. I gotta close this off my phone. There's nobody named Marvin Fanch. Not a real guy. Stupid name. Sorry if someone in your family's named Marvin Fanch, but... Or I guess maybe not, because if there is somebody named Marvin Fanch in your family, then they got mentioned on the Fox broadcast. But yeah, come on.
People are naming their kids dumb shit these days, but please don't name your child Fanch.
Fanch. That's more of a late model name than it is a midget or sprint car name, I think. Fanch Davenport. But yeah, I don't know. that's got to get better. And again, it doesn't matter if it's AI or if it's some fucking 15-year-old intern they have in there. They got to get that repaired, please.
Spell check your shit.
It's not that hard.
We also had, I guess there was a wreck involving Riley Herbst and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., which led to their cars smooching on the track, nose to nose.
All the way down the backstretch. Just a big, long smooch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked seeing that.
Something you didn't like seeing though was coming to the end of stage 2. Kyle Larson decided to clear himself off the nose of SVG.
Forgot he was driving a stock car for a second.
Yep. And this led to a little Rob freakout moment where he decided he needed to screenshot Kyle Larson's stats as a 2-time champion and send them to group chat because he could not handle the best driver in the world crash himself again. So
he he did. Yeah, that was
definitely a highlight for me in person to see him.
Yeah,
do whatever the fuck that was.
I'm sure it was. But yeah, there's really no defense for that. That was cool. It was cool. Yeah,
and he did
radio too.
he did manage. What was the spotter saying? I didn't have him on.
The spotter said inside.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Until it was really inside.
Yep.
One thing I was thinking, not to harp on this for too long, but one thing I was thinking about as this went down, and I'm still kind of deprogramming my brain from playoff mode. Those types of mistakes are way more damaging to your championship run than they were previously.
Yeah.
Like something like this happening last year or at any point during the playoffs, it's almost a foregone conclusion that the 5 team is going to win a race. Same with any of the Hendrick cars except for Alex Bowman, or there's a select group of guys out there that something like that happens. It's kind of like, whatever, we'll get them next week. And eventually that will come to fruition. But now, that's quite the hole to start in.
Yeah, but you also, we're starting off the season with 2 plate tracks, and you look at the top 10, and there's a bunch of guys in there that we know aren't going to be in the top 10 after a few more races.
So, he got lucky in that regard, but still, it's definitely, you got to wrap your head around the fact that these things mean a lot more than they used to, which is what we asked for. And it's very cool, unless it's Kyle Larson clearing himself from California down to the bottom off the nose of Shane Van Gisbergen. By the way, Shane, pretty good day for him.
Well, he spun twice, but still got a top 10 out of the day. So he's improving, folks. He's even still in the top 16 in points. So also too in this incident,
he's going to win next week too. So.
Well, we'll see. He's got Connor to deal with now, But also, too, in this incident, so thankfully he managed to only take himself out of that wreck. Obviously SVG spun too, but he didn't spin back into the pack and take out a bunch of cars. But NASCAR did immediately throw the caution as soon as he spun, and this led to Bubba Wallace getting the stage win, even though it was very clear that William Byard would have beat him to the line. Yep. However, that's just how these things work with timing and scoring. So of course that led to a bunch of people bitching online. But it is what it is.
The Facebook row behind us at the track was not.
Of course they
not having a good time.
Yeah.
It's whatever. That's
they're
just
having trouble breathing, I would imagine. So that's always going to predispose you to having less than a good time.
Yep. All right, so now we can talk about Hocevar. So he, it was pretty clear that he was going to be one to contend with on Sunday, regardless of where he was starting. And unfortunately, to start the race in stage 1, he got a flat early, and that put him 2 laps down. But thankfully, he was able to get back on the lead lap by the end of stage 2 for sure. I can't remember exactly when, but
thank you, Kyle Larson. I guess I would assume those are the 2 lucky dogs.
Boy, he was racing those leaders aggressive though for a while too.
He was, and I had his radio on all day. I mean, I'm not a Carson hater. I'm not his biggest fan, but at the same time, like, I do like him, and I knew it was going to be an interesting day for him, so I was listening to him all day. And, the team did what they had to do to get him back on the lead lap, and even in stage 3, he stayed in the back for the most part. And these are his words. Like, he's like, I've seen enough of this shit on iRacing to know to just stay in the back. And he decided with 43 to go, that's when he was going to make his drive back up.
That was the magic number.
Yeah, which was interesting because even our Jay was sitting with his PR girl, and when that happened, she was like, well, I guess Carson's doing it. Even she was like, what the fuck? Okay, lap 40, 43 to go. He's going to go. So he did that and, got his way up front. And there was a restart. It was one of the last restarts. He was starting, I think, third or fourth, second row, I want to say. And, managed to try to go for a hole going into turn 1 that was initially there, but by the time he got to Christopher Bell, there was no hole there at all, and he just drove through Bell and put him in the wall.
That closed quicker than my credit card straight out of high school did. It was
during that caution break, he tell Bell's spotter, I'm pushing him, like, I'm going to push the shit out of him. So, this kind of, to me, took away a little bit of the goodwill he had that day with such an interesting run, because it was kind of unnecessary, especially at that point. I mean, it wasn't the last lap, and, he didn't need to do that. Like, I'm not even a Bell fan necessarily, but it was just kind of a stupid move. And this really led to way too much discourse over the last couple of days, calling him, the next Earnhardt and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, guys, let's not do that right off the fucking bat. And, of course, today they announced a black Chili's car he's going to be running in the next few races.
Yeah, it was perfect timing for that.
Let me tell you, folks, for a little history lesson I know some of our listeners have not been around that long. There is no comparing those two men. For many, many reasons. First off, Dale didn't start his career that way. I mean, he definitely drove aggressively in the beginning, but he didn't become the intimidator until, like, the mid-'80s. That's when he really started getting super aggressive. Second off, he didn't do many of these moves in positions where other people were going to get wrecked, like in front of an entire field at a super speedway race. He wasn't doing that. Third, personality-wise, they are two very different guys. Carson, he's very much like a gamer troll type dude, and he's even said he has no friends out there. He doesn't hang out with anybody outside of racing. Doesn't really have too many friends in racing, just in the entire industry, it seems like. Yeah, and isn't big on apologizing to people and showing remorse. Like, apparently he did text Ryan Blaney. I guess he got into him at some point Sunday, and he did text Blaney after the fact, and Blaney appreciated that, which was nice. But Earnhardt, there are so many stories from drivers that after they got wrecked by Dale would come over with an aw shucks and throw an arm around him and sweet talk him to the point where the guys almost felt bad for being pissed off. Carson's not doing that. Like, I can promise you that is not who Carson is. All that said, I mean, he's a great driver and he's going to do great things, but he still hasn't actually won yet. And, thankfully, I don't think he's going to get a talking to like Ross did a couple years ago, because he's smart enough to not fuck with the Hendrick cars, and being that they are the top Chevy team and can clearly make threats about other Chevy teams like they did with Ross. He's smart enough to not fuck with those guys, but everybody else seems to be a sitting duck for him. So I say all this stuff to say I like Carson and I hope he does well, but let's not get overboard with comparing him to other people, because and also too, like, again, all three of us were around when Dale was still around. Not half the
People
crowd
did
at
not
least
like him.
were not fans of him. I watched both the 95 and 97 Bristol races where he got in a Labonte, and they were not happy. They were not happy with the cages getting rattled. So I
remember being pissed off at my grandma's house when Labonte got turned, man. Saturday night, and I didn't know how to cuss at that point, but I would have, and would have gotten a whooping out of it. But yeah, people did not like Dale. at least not everybody. There wasn't this universal love that he has now after his passing, and of course the back half of his career. To be fair, the black Earnhardt-esque car, I was actually kind of shocked to see that was only announced today or yesterday, because they've had that parked up by the glass at the Spire shop for at least 2 or 3 weeks now. My brother-in-law sent me a photo of that, so that's been out there, and I would have shared it with you guys. I just thought that because it was out for public viewing that it was not secret, but apparently they don't give a fuck at Spire.
Yeah.
So they had that thing on display. I don't know. I don't have much to say about it. I understand your frustration. I really do like Carson, and I can assure you, based on my interactions with him, he doesn't give a fuck. He really doesn't. Yeah. And he's in it for his own career, and I fuck with that. So I got no problem with that. But I do agree. Let's cool it with the Earnhardt comparisons until we start clicking off wins. I do think those are coming soon, but I think it's a little early to start throwing that name around and that legacy around at this point.
Yeah. I don't like Kosovar, and you will never make me like him, but I appreciate drivers who have like a racecraft that is like fun to watch on track, and I don't think he has that racecraft. I think he just has like a chaos factor, and that has never appealed to me. I'm not into whatever the fuck,
I mean, he will refine that after a period. He's not going to be able to get away with this forever. And even going back to people say, bring up Ernie Irvan too. Like Ernie didn't have Dale's personality either. That's why he had to go and fucking apologize to the entire field, because he was not that guy. And Carson is, to me, more comparable to Ernie than...
I was just going to say that. That's actually a pretty good comparison, I think, between those two guys. I hadn't thought about that before.
Yeah. So, hopefully he doesn't get a head injury in Michigan, so...
Yeah, you watched him die, according to that one guy.
I went back and watched like the Cup highlights today, and I heard even in like the extended highlights, the booth saying several times that no one was working with Hocevar that day. It's because no one wants to work with him. I feel like none of his peers have any respect for him. They don't want to help him.
I mean, again, racing is an individual sport in the sense that, it's single drivers trying to get a win. You will have teammates and you work together with them when you have to. But at the same time, I get being selfish and wanting to win, but you also probably should have at least a little bit of courtesy. Like I'm a person I'm a very courteous person with everyone I interact with, so that to me can get a little frustrating. Again, I understand the position he's in and what he's trying to accomplish, but and all this to say too, all these guys are like, well, Denny, for instance, is like, well, somebody's going to teach him someday, and it's like, I don't know if they will, because Denny's been one who said that for years, and I can't say he's done that too many times. So,
well, that's the other thing. Like, do it. Somebody go do it. Somebody go teach the lesson. Go take the $50,000 fine, whatever it is. Like, I don't know. Go fucking do it. If you're that fed up with it, wreck his ass.
Yeah.
Like, beat his ass. I don't know. Like, and again, this is coming from somebody who likes Carson. Like, if you don't like the way he's doing you and you're going to go out, and we haven't heard a lot of shit talk recently. Maybe that's just the state of the garage and how you actually can get penalized for that in a meaningful way. But if you want to teach a lesson, go teach a lesson. Just don't talk big like Stenhouse typically does. Or unfortunately, Ryan Preece, he said the same shit. I haven't seen him go up to Carson. Let's do it. We're men. Let's go.
I thought that Denny on his podcast kind of summed up all of it very well, if anyone listened to that. But he also had a couple funny moments on Twitter. I don't know if y'all saw him comparing Hocevar to a puppy.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have.
That's a good one.
I can see that.
Yeah. Said puppies are great, but if they shit in your bed, you're gonna just lay in it. He said, or you're gonna teach them where to take a dump. So.
That's a good
also,
point.
just on a personal level, to me, it's just an ick when people skip over entire series. The fact that he went trucks to Cup, that's just a personal ick of mine.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, I think that's more of a comparable transition these days with the way the cars drive. But, yeah, I understand what you mean. I like to watch guys slug it out in Series 2, whoever the sponsor is, the Bush Series, as I will call it forever. I guess I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, and also in reference to like the entire internet, like overnight, like just completely fawning over Carson. Like,
yeah, I don't get that either.
Yeah, if Bubba were to do all the exact same moves that Carson did yesterday, the internet would be losing its fucking mind in a totally opposite way.
100%. Yeah.
So.
But again, second week in a row where Tyler Reddick has picked up a win and no one gives a shit because we're talking about other stuff.
Yeah, I don't even I'm trying to. I don't even remember the end of the race. I just know all of a sudden, Reddick's there and he's going to win this with missing a fucking fender off his car.
Do want to get Truelove's story on this, but real quick, let me tell you what mine was. I was down here in the basement, fired up. Carson's up front. They're coming to the green. I'm stoked, because, again, Carson, host of our fan. It's taken a while, but I've gotten there. I've accepted it. Here we are. Let's fucking go. Somebody I've actually met before is in contention to win their first cup race. This is killer. Plus, there's some dogs up there, too. This is going to be a dog fight. The Fox One app just shits the bed as soon as they cross the line. My TV goes black. I'm audibly, what the fuck? Angrily, trying to turn on another TV or open my phone. And by the time I finally get the app open, Tyler Reddick somehow has won the race. So... yeah, that pissed me off. How about you, Truelove? How'd that go at the end for you? What happened? I have no idea.
So, Bubba had a great day on Sunday. He was up front leading a ton. And my entire row were diehard Bubba fans. So we were all just, praying that we were going to get to see a Bubba win in person and get to, lose our fucking shit. And it would all be worth it for being out in the cold. But, yeah, on that final overtime restart, it was Bubba and Hostvar on the front row. Reddick pushed Bubba out to the lead, and then Hostvar saw. Bubba went high to block Hostvar, and Hostvar dived below Bubba, forcing another gap. And Hostvar and Reddick started banging doors for the lead, and then Briscoe pushed Reddick out front, and then no one had anything for Reddick after that. And Hostvar fell back and pinched Bubba in the wall in the last lap, so. And then Reddick won. I mean, I like Reddick too. I'm, 2311 fan, but I wanted the other 2311 guy to win.
Yeah.
And also, Reddick's paint scheme on Sunday was so fucking ugly. Golly.
Like a propane tank.
Yeah, Michael Jordan was there again 2 weeks in a row celebrating, so. Good for them. Reddick did a backwards burnout, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. He also had 3/4 of a car.
Yep.
So. Yeah, of course, the 1 year where wins don't lock you in is when Reddick starts picking them off. But yeah, again, I do like Tyler Reddick a lot. It's cool to see that. Now we're kind of getting, well, I guess now that we go to COTA next, we're not really going to have an idea of what the majority of the season's going to look like until a few weeks from now. Usually the old adage was wait till you get to Vegas and then we'll finally, or Atlanta, I guess, before they reconfigured it, then we'll see who's got what because the plate tracks are so different. But again, Reddick's good at COTA too. So he could get 3 in a row. I mean, Christopher Bell did it last year. He won, 4 races in a row?
3. He won 3. He didn't win 4.
Was it 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could happen again.
2311 are 1-2 in points right now, so.
Yeah, crazy.
Good start.
Yeah, I'm sure Brian France doesn't itch in his bed at night. Sure, he's totally fine with all of that. Having to see them every fucking week up on the podium, but
you're thinking of Jim France, not Brian France, but
well, Brian too. He itches. Brian itches in his bed for a different reason, but yeah, Jim France is who I was talking about. Oh man, but yeah, I gotta say, man, as a super speedway racing hater, especially with this car, Atlanta is not in that category.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Fun.
And every time we go back, it changes just a little bit and becomes more of what we saw at Daytona in the 90s and the 80s. And obviously it's a little different, but this racing is incredible. And yeah, Atlanta creeps further and further up the to-do list for me every time we go back. And I can't wait for the fall race or summer race, I guess, right?
Summer
it's in the middle
race,
of fucking
and,
July.
Well, good news.
Summer night race.
Natalie Decker will be running that weekend.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Perfect. Yeah, she's picked up a couple starts after Daytona, so yeah, no lessons learned there, I guess. Marketing plan executed.
She's even putting out a shirt with her tits on it. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Send me the pre-order link and I'll wear it.
Well, I guess as long as she doesn't sell them in youth sizes, then do whatever you want.
Baby onesies, yeah.
So yeah, that was Atlanta. Great weekend, and now we're off Dakota, which will probably be a decent race. I mean, again, we want to see.
I like the short course a lot better than I like the other configuration.
It was definitely a better race last year than in years prior, for sure.
Yeah, I was a barn burner watching Kyle Busch up front last year, and I would expect we're probably going to see more of the same. It seems to be the one that SVG has the least handle on out of all the road courses.
I mean, I can't remember. I feel like he either had a decent finish last year or something happened to his cards. Can't remember what, but that was the only road course he didn't win last year.
Oh, before we move on, I do want to point out that Joey Logano referred to, and I bring this up because Connor Zilic is obviously the other person that people are focusing on for COTA, since he's so good at road courses and Trackhouse has got their road course program dialed in. Joey Logano did refer to him as the purple one on Sunday.
And there was a good exchange on Twitter between all three of the Trackhouse guys. And then Ross said that he was going to get Connor a kid's meal at Wendy's. So.
Perfect. All right, now it's Darf of the Week time, and Brien found this one, and boy, we've got a lot to wade through here. Brien, take it away.
Well, I don't even think I found it. Yeah, Kyle found it, but I had seen this. I just didn't.
That's right.
I just didn't send it to you guys because I didn't really know what to make of it. But so yeah, there's.
I still don't know what to make of it.
I still don't know who the Darf of the Week actually is in this whole interaction.
Well, no, the Darf is the guy. So
I don't know.
No, it is. It's the
girl.
Guy. It's whoever sent these cards out. So, for those of you who aren't into card collecting and whatnot, there's a lot of people that will send out cards to athletes and drivers and whatnot to get autographed. And, you send a self-addressed stamp envelope and a couple cards, and, a lot of times people will post what they get back on social media. And, one of these groups, someone sent out cards to Kyle Petty and Ricky Hendrick. Not Rick Hendrick, Ricky Hendrick.
Yeah.
And
for those of you who don't know, Ricky Hendrick, of course, Rick Hendrick's son, who died in a plane crash, along with Randy Dorton and a lot of the Hendrick family flying into Martinsville in, what was that, 2004,
because we know this because whoever found the card and sent it back to this person sent it with a Post-it note that stated Ricky died in 2004. And in the comments, I think people are just confused. Like one guy's asking him, did you mail the Ricky Hendrick card on accident? And this person said, no, I thought it was the other Hendricks. And he keeps saying Hendricks the entire time.
Well,
also.
To clarify the original post, the caption was just Kyle Petty.
Yes, well, because he's the only one who got an autograph back.
Exactly. But this leads me to believe that they sent it to the Pettys, which why would you get a Hendrick autograph?
Well, no,
this is where it gets confusing.
They clarified it in the comments. They did send it to two different people. They must have sent it to the Hendrick shop or something.
I thought I read there were some more new comments because it popped up in my feed today, and the person who sent it said they sent it to Legacy Motor Club for some reason.
Oh, because Richard is there.
No. The one comment right here, it says, I didn't mail Hendricks to Kyle. I thought it was the owner of Hendricks because I didn't know he passed. So, yeah, again, we're all a little bit confused as to what this person was doing, but clearly this is a person
I don't think English is their first language either.
Wild behavior to send a dead man's card off to get an autograph, though.
Yes, for sure.
And here's where the real confusion of who the actual Darf of the Week comes for me. There's a comment by someone named Shannon Lynn that says, I was at Vegas when Ricky got hurt. He just became a grandpa.
That's fair. That is another very, very much Darf comment.
So, Ricky died in his 20s, right?
Yeah.
And I know know we're talking, not to get stereotypical, we are talking about the South here, and there's a little bit of a reputation, particularly from Arkansas, where my folks are from, where, there's a little bit of sister fucking happening and all that, and things happen, but I don't think the math would even possibly work out for Ricky Hendrick to have been a granddad. Yeah. I don't know who the Darf of the Week is. Is it this person who thought that Ricky was a granddad, or was the person that sent a card off to get signed by a dead man? Saying it out loud kind of puts it in perspective, and I think you're right. The original poster, Brien, probably is our Darf of the Week. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm because the other comment wouldn't appear without this incident happening in the first place. So yes, they are the Darf of the Week for sure. And
it might be gold and silver.
We're coming off the Olympics, so yes, that is appropriate. Yeah.
Their punishment is to watch the 2004 memorial ceremony and learn what they don't know,
and then go check where you mailed that to and see that the fountain. God, again, like I know we go after, some like media people sometimes, or folks that aren't necessarily Darfs, but what they say just doesn't jive with us. But it's good to have a real classic style, just dumbass shopping cart Darf of the Week to help kick this year off. It's nice to have that back. So thank you for the entertainment. And again, yeah, your punishment is to go watch that memorial service and understand how what you did was not ideal. Speaking of not ideal, I am sucking in fantasy this year.
This second week's Fantasy League top 10 here. We've got Alan Kowicki's briefcase in the lead.
Yep, congratulations. First fantasy win. They posted on Instagram. I think I reposted it, but I may not have. But congratulations. First ever fantasy win in any sort of fashion when it comes to NASCAR for Alan Kowicki's briefcase. So congratulations. Enjoy it. Have a beer.
Yep. Second place, Twin Peaks Motorsports, followed by Chris Davis.
Yep. And fourth, is Garfield's Feet.
Garfield's Feet. Jay Hova in fifth. Golden Corral Mafia in sixth. Tied at seventh is Kyle Ayala and Sapplebees. Mm-hmm. Ninth place is Mick Foliage.
That's got to be one of your friends, right?
Yeah, it has to be. 10th
it's my friend Seth.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck me then. 10th place is both Stephen Kent and Truelove.
Very nice.
I have dropped 12th, and Rob is in 22nd. So
yeah. I tend to make some bold choices for the plate races kicking off the season, and you'll see me up there at some point. But yeah, not yet. But congratulations to Alan Kowicki's briefcase yet again. Of course, Garfield's Feet, another top 5 finish there. That's good. And congratulations to Truelove for getting a top 10 despite not having cell service.
Yeah, I couldn't switch out my garage. But since it is the second race, we're starting to get like an overall points.
Well, that's what the overall points was. That's what I just gave.
No, this is from this week. This is just from the Atlanta race.
No. Are you sure?
Those are the point standings. Hold on.
Yeah. Because I think overall it's Twin Peaks leading, Garfield's Feet's in second.
Really? Garfield's Feet in second? I just love saying it. That's my Dick Trickle on Sports Center right there.
Yeah, I was looking at the fucking wrong thing. Hold on here.
People were getting...
Yeah, Twin Peaks.
How the hell are you getting 226 points off of a plate race? I don't believe that. That's unbelievable.
I had 250 at one point because
points.
Yeah, I had like 250 at one point when I was leading because I had like Cindric up there. I was like the only person that picked Cindric, and then he wrecked and that fucked it all. Okay, so the top 10 now. Twin Peaks, Garfield's Feet, Chris Davis, Alan Kowicki's briefcase, Jay Hova, Mick Foliage, Golden Corral Mafia, Kyle, Steven, and then I'm in 10th. You're in 11th, Ashley, and then Rob, you are 21st. So that's where we're at with the top 10.
Sober.
Damn, I'm sucking. I haven't opened this app since I realized it wasn't going to be good anyway. So the race happened on Sunday. It's now Tuesday. First time I've looked at this. Yeah, not good. Hate it for the guys back at the shop.
So yeah, general news and notes. We have Lee Pulliam getting a JRM ride from Martinsville. Rob, I'm assuming that's a modified guy or a late model guy.
That's a late model guy. He's won at Martinsville in the big 300 down there a bunch of times. He's a legend when it comes to late models and late model stocks. And the last race that I'm aware of that he ran was, of course, the Valley Star 300 at Martinsville, and almost pulled off a win there. Lee is a legend. And it's very, very cool to see a guy with his pedigree and that background get a shot. And very similar to what we saw with, say, Josh Berry or Bubba Pollard getting a shot. He's very much in that league, and very cool to see Lee get a shot in the Xfinity Series or the O'Reilly Series or one of Dale's cars in whatever series they run. Yeah, I'm proud of him.
You know what? Well, I'll mention this too, since we're again with the confusion of the name. On Door Bumper Clear, they briefly got confused with the name. I don't know if Blaney or somebody else said it wrong, and then Blaney jumps in like, "They're shitty car parts store, anyways." So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Also, I do want to give a shout out to my good buddy Bobby Marcos. He just launched a new podcast with Brad Perez last week. It's called Speed of Sound, and it's really unique and special to me specifically because, you know, obviously Bobby's a musician. He's got his band Cloakroom, and he has his own projects, Documa and all that he does. But the whole point of this podcast is to sort of fuse the racing world with the music world, which is something that, you know, that's very relatable to me. I feel like I'm on an island sometimes as a musician and being a racing fan, and whereas music takes up about 40% of my brain and racing 60%, I feel a little alienated out there sometimes because people just, they don't have an entry point into the stuff I'm into, and vice versa.
Also, about 90 to 95% of people in racing have horrible taste in music.
Maybe. I don't know. But we're going to find out through this podcast.
Listen, motherfucker. I've seen a lot of playlists that drivers post. I've listened to more than my fair share of butt rock, dirt race music. So,
but still, very, very cool podcast. I'm very excited that this is out. This is not Dirty Mo related. This is just Bobby and Brad's own passion project. Anytime I can hear about racing and Converge in the same episode, you got me. And honestly, this is when we were kicking around the idea of doing this show, something like this was sort of in the back of my head to try and tie those two worlds together, but I just don't have or didn't have the connections at the time to really make that happen. And honestly, Bobby doing this, he's the right guy to do it, and this is going to be a great show. Everything he touches is good, and I look forward to listen to this. So yeah, check them out. Speed of Sound podcast. You can listen to them anywhere you listen to our podcast, I think. And there's video, so you can look at them talk. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, a new episode should be dropping. I think they're doing them weekly, so pretty soon. Also, didn't know Brad Perez was a hardcore kid. That's news to me. So.
Oh yeah, there was a couple years ago. He was on tour in Cleveland with some band, and I almost went to the show just to hang out with him.
Yeah, he seems like a great dude.
We actually hung out with him at Wilkesboro a couple years ago. He was cool.
Yeah,
but I did tell
Bass art show.
Nice. Yeah. I did tell Bobby that if you ever do a Primus episode, I expect to be called for that. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's pretty low down on the list.
Like,
but...
Listen.
On the do not record list.
Listen, they have a song called Jerry Was a Race Car Driver. They should be brought up at some point.
He's like,
anyways,
don't call me, we'll
Soda
call
is
you.
a great record. I'll say that.
Yes,
I am also a Primus fan, just not like Brien.
Yeah. So apparently, they did. The Daytona Truck Series race viewership was up almost to the point of the numbers that the Busch Series race got. I mean, we can all kind of gather that number was definitely bumped up quite a bit by Cletus, and probably on some level Tony as well, and just the fact that there were so many stars in that race, but.
Yep.
And Pastrana. But yeah, I mean, the Cletus fans are doing their victory lap and running their mouths. It's been a very annoying week to hear about the Cletus discourse. Oh, you're not as online as I am, I don't think, as far as shitty people on social media. So
it was the most watched truck race since 2016. So
God damn, really?
There's that 37% viewer increase.
Good for them.
Yeah, how many of them went away after Cletus wrecked, though? That's what I wonder. That's getting into real wrestling viewership analytic shit. That's what I'd be curious to hear.
I don't know.
I don't know. You're gonna whoever.
Yeah, speaking
put this
of Cletus,
note in here. Yeah.
Well, he's got this buddy Squirrel that's always with him. He's always, they're attached at the hip. He's in all the videos. But Squirrel he announced that he will be running 3 ARCA races at Hickory, and then Kansas, and then Talladega. So
cool. Why didn't Cletus do that?
I don't know.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, Hickory seems like a normal place to start. Not super speedway.
Yeah, it's a tough racetrack, but that's cool. And I'm not opposed to the Cletus brand being a part of this. I think it's important. I think all the criticism of Cletus is coming from just him dropping into some of the racetracks where you'd think there'd be more experience required, but put him on a short track, And again, I think a lot of the criticism comes from the fact that he doesn't have much of a racing background to begin with. Obviously, he's a wheelman. He's good at
Crown Vic racer.
Well, yeah. Imagine some of the Crown Vic guys from fucking Thompson just immediately strapping into a fucking truck,
Yeah, and also, I mean, he drag races too, but I mean, look, how many drag racers have come into the circle track world and done well? I mean, the only one I can even think of that's tried is Ron Capps. And not to say he's had success, but at least he's run a bunch of races.
Yeah. I guess all I'm saying is that, it's really hard to be competitive at circle track racing and short track racing and stock car racing without really devoting yourself to it. And I'll give Cletus his credit for wanting to do that. But also, you really got to dive in a little bit more if you want to even have a shot to make this a successful thing. So shout out to Squirrel running Hickory. That's badass. Hickory fucking rips, man. It's a shithole, but it's a legendary shithole, and I was always pretty bad at that on NASCAR 2006 Total Team Control.
So the biggest news from last week, aside from on-track stuff, was the return of NASCORT coming this season. JGR filed a lawsuit against former director of competition, whatever the fuck role he had there, Chris Gabehart, more or less for basically stealing JGR information to bring to Spire.
The funniest part about all of this is that apparently he had some setup sheets and spreadsheets and documents in a folder on his laptop, and all these documents were taken from a Google Drive that was JGR property, and he had it all in a folder called Spire on his laptop, which I love that.
I'm
Call
no
it
lawyer.
Funny cat memes or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm no lawyer, but from what I've seen, it doesn't look very good for Gabehart here. I mean, we'll obviously see what happens in court, but obviously with Spire behind him, he's got money to fight that, I suppose. But yeah, they're trying to get $8 million out of him, I think, for this. So
out of Spire. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess he'll be out of Spire, but it's.
It came out.
Go ahead.
It came out that at JGR, Gabehart was making $1 million a year. So.
Yeah. Plus bonuses, and he wanted, apparently, I forget the exact position he wanted, but he wanted total control over everything the race teams do to stay with JGR, and they didn't want him to do that, so that's why he left. But it almost kind of sounded like to me he already, because we had heard rumors of him going to Spire as soon as the end of the season, and it was announced he was.
Yeah, I think we talked about it on the show even.
Yeah, so it's not obviously him going to Spire wasn't a shock, but all this other stuff is definitely surprising, and we'll see how it plays out. But
well,
it
two
definitely
things about this. One, I don't think you can really. It's still too early to decide who is the jilted lover here. I'm sure if everything JGR is alleging is correct, then obviously there's a case there, and that's a problem. But also, I can see this being just a employer-employee situation where they don't get along. And again, having a folder with top-secret documents called Spire in your laptop is not ideal. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out soon enough. And I'm sure that Bob Pockris and not Bob Pock. Well, him too. But Jeff Gluck and Jordan, maybe they'll have a couple episodes about that because they did a great job on the NASCAR trial series, and maybe they haven't had enough of sitting at a courthouse watching these proceedings happen.
And who's to say they don't settle before they even hit trial? Who the hell knows?
And also, you got to wonder if maybe that's why RCR was so fast at Richmond when Austin Dillon won those two races. Because there was a whole thing about IP and happening around that as well. And
Yep.
you know, I'm not trying to draw too many connections here, but that's certainly, you know, it's a pretty short line to draw right there if you have an information problem at your organization. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
My favorite part of all of this is on Twitter. When Denny Hamlin saw the article posted, he reposted it with nothing but just a gif of Kenny Wallace taking his glasses off like a crazy person. So, very funny.
Did we talk about Kenny telling us all that we should be ashamed of ourselves for ragging on Natalie Decker?
Well, no,
I
because
didn't listen to any of that.
that kind of happened after we even recorded last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Kenny was definitely.
Shame on you, he says.
Look, you know,
I sleep fine. It's fine.
Yeah. There's
Kenny.
too much there, Kenny. You're wrong on this one. Sorry, bud. Last little bits of news. So Jimmy Johnson is apparently going to crew chief for Dario Franchitti this weekend at the St. Petersburg Truck Street Race, which I don't know if this is the smartest idea. I mean, look, you know, we can't argue Jimmy's Cup success, but he wasn't great in IndyCar. He hasn't really been great since he stopped his full-time Cup career. You know, Legacy has been turning around the last couple seasons, but I don't know what his crew chief prowess will be. But hey, he's doing it, and I mean, you know,
it's a cool story.
Yeah, it's an interesting story.
And Pato O'Ward will win this
Is
weekend
he in that
the
race?
IndyCars. Well, no, he's the IndyCar
okay.
race. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Truck race, it's up for debate. Dario Franchitti will not win that race, but
No, I can't see that happening.
very cool though to see Dario back in a car. I watched his career end at Houston in 2016. In one of the most violent wrecks you've ever seen, and that was a tough one to watch. One of the scariest things I've ever seen on television, and very cool to see him getting back in a race car. And yeah, we haven't really talked much about the St. Pete race with the trucks. That's a cool deal. As much as I shit on road courses as well, I think this is I like the NASCAR IndyCar crossover that we're seeing here. Of course, we got this one this weekend with the trucks and IndyCar, and of course we'll be in Phoenix pretty soon with the IndyCar series as well.
Yeah.
And I love that shit. I think we need more of that.
Kyle will be down there.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah, St. Petersburg is cool. Go to the Taco Bus if you get down to Tampa. Taco Bus in Tampa. That's a good place.
Last little bit of news here. So before we get to the One Piece, we didn't mention this. Kevin Harvick is actually going to have some sort of new podcast under the Speed branding.
It's a show, yeah.
Yeah, like Fox owns the Speed channel, Speed Network, intellectual property, and they're going to dig that up to do this new show with Harvick. So I don't know what that's going to be, but
it's Harvick and Will Buxton, who's the voice of the IndyCar series now, longtime Formula One contributor, and he did commentate Formula E races for a long time. I've seen some clips from it. It's pretty cool. And I love the fact that we're getting some sort of all-inclusive, all types of racing show back on a network. I believe this is actually going to be on FS1. Maybe I'm wrong about that?
yeah, I think so, yeah.
But very cool to sort of have a wind tunnel style show where the whole room is tied together. And the clips I've seen of this is pretty cool, listening to the two of them talk together. Harvick's a smart guy. I'm not the biggest Will Buxton fan, but, you know, he can spin a yarn too. So I think this will be good, and I'm very excited for it.
But the other Harvick news was about Keelan. He signed a development deal with Toyota, which, I think turned a lot of heads. People expected him to go to one of the, either Ford or Chevy. Toyota has, I would say...
Well, Chevy's too busy spending money on fucking Corey Day wrecking cars right now.
Yeah, and who the hell knows what's going on with Ford. Toyota has, I would say, a hit or miss history with this type of deal. I mean, I know, they lost Larson, and there were a couple other people that they lost early on, but other people were successful in this program. So it kind of remains to be seen. I've mentioned that I don't love Keelan Harvick, or just the. I've said many times, like a children of the corn. I don't like looking at him.
He's a little boy,
You just
Brien.
like looking at him. Okay.
I don't. Well, it also feeds into the other argument that I've had about, like, I'm annoyed with children getting put in these positions. Like, I just don't like it. I feel like you should be older before this is happening, and not. I mean,
to be fair, Keelan is out there.
It works
I know, but I don't have to like it. That's the thing. I don't have to like it. I know I'm not the only one. Like, so I just don't like it. Good for him. I'm never going to be a fan. So it's fine.
There's
He's
not many.
my favorite child racer, so.
Oh.
Well, okay.
I'm actually a Brexton guy.
Watch out, Miss Epstein.
Yeah, very cool.
These are the kind of young kids that I like seeing coming up. They come up through the ranks, they do it the right way, they perfect their racecraft, and they learn a lot of respect along the way, unlike Hurricane.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to do it when your dad's a Cup Series champion. You're in the spotlight. Like, there was that video that got put out a week or two ago of, like, Kyle not berating Brexton, but he was basically telling him, like, listen, we can make whatever changes you want to the car, but this is what you're doing wrong, and this is what you have to change.
That's a cool fucking video right there.
Yeah,
I love that.
To me, it was awkward. I feel like that was weird to put out online, but the way he did it wasn't like he was being an asshole. He was just straight up front, like, no, this is what you have to do, and then he went and did it, and it actually worked.
Yeah,
so.
Kyle Busch is not a fucking baseball dad, or a go-kart dad for that matter. He seems to, and he should. He's been doing it for a long time, so he knows what works and what doesn't, and he's also been a loose cannon, too, so he kind of has that insight into what it's like to berate your people.
Yeah.
So maybe he's learned from that. Again, I think both of those kids have big futures, and on him joining Toyota, like, that's a really cutthroat program for sure. But again, like, out of all the people involved in the Toyota pipeline, he's got the Harvick name attached to him. I'm curious to see what sort of changes come to their late model programs going forward as a result, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, we got 3 really talented kids coming up here between Brexton, Harvick's kid, and Wyatt Miller as well. Wyatt announcing some sprint car starts. So, and Owen Larson as well. He's out there learning his craft too. So the future is bright with all these children of.
Well, the Larson daughter too. Apparently, she's got more of a drive to race than Owen does. Like, I've heard Kyle talk about.
She's pretty young still. Well, we're gonna find out real soon. Audrey, right? Audrey Larson. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And you can watch it all on Dirt Vision, folks. They all hang out at Millbridge. So whenever that pops back up on your Monday and Tuesday nights, if you need something to watch, you can see all these kids beat the shit out of each other in outlaw carts. It's fun.
Cool. And with that, we got to dive into the septic tank, which is a little bit more shallow this week. There were only a couple races to talk about, mainly late model stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Which I watched some of the Lucas Oil stuff. I didn't watch the. I didn't see the World Outlaws late models, but I did watch. Mainly Saturday. I think I checked in the other night.
Yeah, that's where my bias lands as well. Lucas is the #1 tour to me, but both of them put on great racing, and both are equal championships, if we're being honest. But we'll start at Lucas with the Lucas Series at Alltech. Brandon Sheppard and Deb Moran picking up prelim win nights there. Hudson O'Neill picking up a big win on Saturday. I think that was worth about $15,000, so good for him. Returning to the who the fuck was it? Ricky Thornton's old car. We'll call it that. But yeah, Hudson's had a hell of a run with the Rumleys, and now he's back into the 71, and seems to be picking up right where he left off there, and good showing for him. Also, Brandon Sheppard in the Rocket 1, I got to give him a shout out. Of course, got that win on Thursday night. They seem to have found their speed. Last year, not the most flashy year for them. I think a lot of people expected a little bit more out of Brandon Sheppard. Of course, he was your 2024 World of Outlaws title winner in the B5, the Longhorn car. And then once he went back to Rocket, things didn't really pop off the way I think a lot of people expected it. There were flashes, but now we're starting to see that here. He's gotten a few wins over the past few weeks in Florida, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that. On the flip side of that, Ricky Thornton Jr. and former crew chief Anthony Burrows, of course, returning to RTJ's side over at Kohler. They've been sucking ass. So we got a 14th, a 7th, and 18th at Haltech over the weekend. That is not what you expect out of Ricky Thornton Jr. by any stretch of the imagination. And Ricky says that he doesn't think that they're that far off. But, and maybe that's the truth, but certainly doesn't pass the visual test. It seems like they've found themselves in no man's land kicking off this Lucas season. It hasn't been all bad for them. They had some decent runs at Speed Weeks in Volusia for the Gator Nationals, but yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. And I mean, that's a capable team, and Anthony Burrows is really, really smart when it comes to turning the wrenches. So we'll turn it around, but it's going to take a lot of work to get that done. Meanwhile, over at Hendry County, the Cabbage Blossom 100. That's what it was. Yeah, I put CB 100 in the notes here, and I knew that would fuck me because I'm really bad at reading off of a screen here. But Bobby Pierce picked up a Friday night win, and I gotta issue a little bit of a retraction. Last week I talked about how Bobby hadn't had quite that good of a year, but when you actually look at the results, he did have some pretty poor starts to these races, starting pretty far back in the field, 17th, 20th, around that zone. But managing to get top fives out of it, and finally turning around and converting to a win on Friday night. Nick Hoffman picked up a win on Saturday. Of course, that's the big finale night for the Cabbage Blossom 100. So he gets to take home whatever
the swamp cabbage, wasn't it?
Cabbage.
What's in last week's notes?
Swamp Cabbage 100. God damn it. I fucked it up. This is what happens when you do notes from memory, folks. But yeah, the Swamp Cabbage 100. Nick Hoffman picking up that big win on Saturday. And he retains the World of Outlaw points lead. We'll see how long he's able to extend that with Pierce heating it up. And I got to say, Hendry County is certainly a suitable replacement for East Bay. Of course, East Bay was a staple of the Florida Speed Weeks for many, many years, and everyone was really sad to see that place shut down. And this is the first time that Hendry County has hosted a World of Outlaw event, maybe ever. And if they have, it's been a really long time since they've done that. Put on a great show. Hopefully they're able to get more events in the future, because that was a lot of fun. A couple of random notes here. This is more sprint car related than late model related, but and this is actually old news now, but I feel like I have to mention it just because I forgot to put it in the notes a couple weeks ago. Brad Sweet has announced that he's going to be running upwards of 40 races with Paul Silva throughout the year. Of course, Paul Silva, owner of the white 57 car that you probably know from seeing Kyle Larson run most of the time. I don't know what that means for Larson going forward. If Brad's going to be taking some of his sprint car starts away from him, or if it's going to be a second car. Haven't really done the research on that one, but Brad Sweet and Paul Silva, that's a really fucking killer combo. And I think Brad, kind of interesting to see him move to a different team. Basically anyone who's hopped into a Paul Silva car, with the exception of Jock Goodyear, has really shown some serious shit. And Brad's a 4 or 5 time Outlaw winner for the championship, so I don't think we can expect anything other than big results out of that. So stay tuned. I'm not sure what the first race is for that one, but sprint car season is about to pick up here, and I'm sure we'll see him out there more often. Also,
I was under the impression that Brad was retiring.
He's retiring from full-time competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I watched a bunch of sad videos of people crying.
Yeah, he's not going for championships anymore, but in the sprint car world, 40 races is still like running 2 Saturdays for most everybody else. So. And when you got a guy like Paul Silva setting the cars up for you, that's a pretty hard thing to turn down, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool to see the big cat back out there. Not a big Brad Sweet fan, but that dude's a fucking monster. And seeing him teamed up with another championship-winning car owner and race-winning car owner is going to be cool. Speaking of guys that have some sweet rides, of course, Rico Abreu announcing last year he's moving over to Tony Stewart Racing and merging his operation with TSR. Starting to roll the new merch out for the 2026 season, and he's debuted a series of pet poop bags, which you can buy for $5 a case, I guess. One roll is
that's what I was curious about, because the photo is a whole box of them. I pay like $4 for 8 rolls. there's no way they're doing $5 for that whole box. So I'm assuming it's $5 per roll, which is a hell of a fucking markup.
That's a lot of money, but I'll tell you this. I go to Rico's trailer anytime I'm at a sprint car race just to pet Gus, his dog, his little golden doodle, wherever the fuck it is. So,
listen, as a dog
pretty
person,
genius marketing right there.
As a dog person, I appreciate putting the dog on the merch and stuff, but that is not one of my favorite types of dogs. I think I have petted before, though, to be honest.
It's a great dog, very soft, and they've handed shots out there before, if I remember correctly, too. So, yeah, Rico Aber's trailer fucking rips. Go say hi to him. Go buy a T-shirt. I even have a T-shirt with Gus the dog on it. So,
yeah.
Go pick that up. Speaking of dirt racing merch, of course, Shia LaBeouf, I'm sure you guys have heard, he had a hell of a time in New Orleans, and it seems like he might still be doing that.
I did.
There's a photo of him circulating wearing a Turkey Night Grand Prix T-shirt, a vintage shirt from Ventura. I don't know if this was post or pre-ass whooping, but he's out there on Bourbon Street not giving a fuck, representing sprint car racing. And I don't know if he knows about it. I kind of doubt it, but it's a sick T-shirt.
I didn't sell it to him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was just going to say that if you want to look as good as Shia does in these photos, minus the fucking 1,000 hand grenades he probably drank, you can hit up Brien at Speedway Screens, and he'll get you hooked up and get you looking good like Shia.
Plenty of comparable shirts in stock right now, for sure.
Very nice.
There was another picture of him a few years ago that blew up of him wearing another vintage NASCAR shirt. I can't remember exactly which one it was right now, but not his first time spotted out in vintage racing gear.
Maybe he's a fellow Darf. Who knows? Probably not. But but he can come sit with me at Eldora. I'll tell you that. I'd love to find out. One last random news note here. Of course, Frisky Motorsports, if you guys have seen them on the internet, they're the ones who put on, these girls put on this huge after party at Gateway. It ends up being basically Bourbon Street, from what I gather. If you want to see Gordy Gundaker and a bunch of girls in wet T-shirts and less, that's the place you got to go after it's done. And they posted this thing on Facebook talking about how the event is blown up and how it's essentially the official after party for the Dome, even though it's not associated. But they did have to say that some of the girls they hired, they had to bring in some ringers this year, and they were lifting money out of the drawer when they were selling drinks. And they're not doing that anymore because these girls were stealing cash, and that's not okay. So if you want to be a frisky girl at the Gateway Dirt Nationals, you're going to have to go through a background check from now on. But you can check them out at Frisky Motorsports on Facebook if you want to be a Gateway girl. I wouldn't take money from the door, but also I'm not the target market for someone who would work for them. But that party is fun from what I gather. It gets pretty greasy in there. And again, I don't know if my wife would want me to go to that, but I'd sit in the back and drink beers. But I also wouldn't take money from the till, which what these girls were doing. So shame on you, as Kenny Wallace would say. Let's see.
I found it 2019. He was wearing a Bill Elliott Coors shirt.
There you go. He's got good taste, at least, right?
At least.
He's covered 2 of the 3 bases here. Now we just got to get him in a vintage Ernie Irvan shirt, and the whole squad is covered. Lots of short track racing coming up this weekend, starting to pick up a little bit. The lull is over. Lucas Oil is going to be at Ocala. Of course, that's above the Love Sponges racetrack, or was. I'm not really sure where that sits, but
he still owns it.
Same place. They'll be there for 4 or 5 nights coming up here. Lucas Oil Racing kicking off, actually, probably right now. They're running hot laps as we're recording this show, and that'll carry on through the rest of the week. Spring Nationals at Swainsboro, of course, rescheduled from earlier in the year. That'll be fun to watch. Cars Tour makes their return at Southern National, as well as the Smart Modified Tour at Florence. Florence is a great racetrack. You should watch that. All that shit's on Flow Racing, so make sure you tune in. And the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars, they make their return to Volusia again, even though they were just there for the Bike Week Jamboree. All of these shows are worth your time. And like I said, the majority of that is on Flow Racing. Of course, World of Outlaws, that's on Dirt Vision. And I'm sure there's plenty more going on out there that I don't even know about. But we're back. The machine is cranking. We're rolling. Short track season's here, and the septic tank's going to get longer and longer as the year moves on. But for now, it's time to flush it down, and we're going to talk about the best fucking video of the week submission that we've ever had. Holy fucking shit.
Ooh,
I cannot wait. Come on!
I picked it, I don't know.
It's a fucking mess, and I cannot wait to talk about this.
It is a mess.
It is a mess, but I would say at least half the reason why it's a mess is that we only got half the broadcast here.
I don't know about that.
No, we did. We did, because
No,
it starts
I know we did. I'm just saying I don't think it's a mess because we only have half of it.
Well, yeah. So I had a handful of people over the years of doing this mention these types of races particularly, and I always wanted to show one for the show, but I also learned, at this point in the 90s that Dusty Rhodes had some involvement in the TNN Motor Madness series and did some broadcasting, so I wanted to find, an episode that had both. So I did, and unfortunately, again, this episode, it's only the second half of it, I think, so we missed some of the storyline, but there is a storyline throughout this broadcast that is very much pro wrestling-esque and very fucking ridiculous. And we kind of come into it in the middle of the episode, and so we get caught up at the end as to what the hell is going on here, but
kind of, yeah.
Again, we get Dusty's in the booth with Ralph Shaheen and Steve Evans.
Boy,
obviously both very much storied motorsports commentators at this point. And they're at this swamp park in Florida that, like, I wouldn't call it a mud pit. It's kind of like a moat that they've turned into this, like, pseudo figure eight type, oval.
That's Naples. That is pretty much the only mud bog track in the United States.
Well, then they mention another one that was being built in Orlando, and I know that exists now. So eventually another one did get built.
But Naples is the goal. This is the Indianapolis of whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned in the broadcast that they've been racing there since like 1949 or something. So, I mean, this has been around for quite some time. But we I don't know. So also Dave Burns is there, and
well, that's where it starts.
Yeah, it starts with Dave getting harassed by this girl in a bikini named Bambi.
It's his girlfriend.
And they make it out like that, but it's also
X.
like, Crazy X or a stalker or something.
Yeah.
And
Stage 5 clinger.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Then we get a shot of, like, there's some sort of Vegas wedding going on, and in the back there's just a forlorn guy wearing an NWO shirt who's like looks pissed off. And then we go back
again?
to
fucking Cabbage Patch.
Butterscotch.
Butterscotch.
That's his name. So none of us know what the fuck's going on there. We go back to the track, and we're here for an actual race. And there's a couple different classes of these buggies, and the first class, like, there's a Jeep class, and then there's two other classes with just different motors. And the non-Jeep class, they're these tall, weird, skinny, tired contraptions that are meant to, like, kind of, the bodies are meant to kind of float above the water.
It's like raised CJ5s is what it looked like, yeah.
And you can't really see a whole lot because, again, they're racing in actual water, so, like, it's kind of like the spray from a jet boat, except worse because it's fucking,
it's tires,
not a boat. It's tires. So it's cool, but you can't really tell what's going on. I think Rob mentioned it'd be fun to go see this in real life and get drunk and
oh, dude,
people watching shit. Like, that'd be a good time. But on TV, it's.
I have always wanted to get a lawn chair and sit on the edge of this thing and just get blasted and watch these guys rip, because they still do it. It's still open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then there's another character named Pamela Von Doren who's here to play a song called I Get Muddy. Then there's another guy who I think his name... What the hell is his... I'm trying to look up because I wrote it down.
Like Knutson or something?
Yeah, Larry Knutson. Some guy in a suit. And he comes and
some manager.
starts... Yeah, he's like the manager or something of something. I don't know.
Production manager, yeah.
Yeah. So he's here to, like... He's berating this girl, and she starts hitting him with the guitar. Which is pretty
his
cool.
whole function is just to tell whoever he's talking to that they're doing a shitty job at whatever they're doing.
Yep. Then we get Dusty accusing Dave Burns of being terminally horny, and that's why he has a stalker. Ralph Shaheen says she picked up a scent. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's
How
going on.
they convinced Dave Burns to do this, I will never understand. But.
Well, unfortunately, too, there's not many of the Dusty broadcasts online because he did a bunch, and I'm sure that most of them are like this. So I'd like to find more of them.
Yeah.
And if I do, I will certainly watch more of them for the show. But this is what we have for now. So the next race is the actual Jeeps, and the Jeeps are like completely underwater, like completely submerged, and going absolutely slow as fuck. Now we see, then after that race, we go back to the wedding reception shot and see people leaving this wedding, and then we see Butterscotch all pissed off. Dusty is at a casino with Pamela, and he's talking about like needs to win some money because TNN's not paying him enough, and they're worried about Butterscotch and they're getting his name wrong. And then
resting his double chin on top of her head and touching her the whole time is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, one of the worst promos ever shot by Dusty Rhodes, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But Butterscotch is here with some sort of poem about Pamela. And he says love is a pile of horse apples, and then he starts freaking out about how she promised to marry him and then left him at the altar, and he says he's going to go to Naples for his revenge, which sounds incredibly ominous and rapey.
Just the worst fake redneck accent, too.
Yes, very much. So then we go to the pro modified buggy race, which I believe they're the fastest class there. And
so sick. So sick.
Are these the ones that just look like dick and balls, and the drivers are sitting at the tip of them?
Yeah, it's like a cigarette with big wheels. Yeah.
Yeah. These ones are way faster. One of them rolls over pretty quickly, and they mention that the drivers have an emergency air supply because they are submerged in water, obviously. But they get the guy out of the car pretty fast. But then they interview him while he's on the ground, and there's like 18 people around attending him, and meanwhile they're trying to interview him while he's like out of breath and hurt on the ground. So that was chaotic.
Yeah. So how you feeling? Was not too good.
Yeah. We get an interview with another guy that apparently got stuck. So one thing we failed to mention is Dusty Rhodes loves saying the phrase "sippy hole." Because there's like holes and shit in this moat, and they interview some guy who gets stuck in a sippy hole in some other race, and he did a dive off of his truck into the water and got a lot of press coverage for this. Apparently, people have never seen a guy jump in water before. I guess
the sippy hole is at the finish line here. They dug a trench on purpose so these guys would have another obstacle to go through. Mm-hmm. And they explain why it's called the sippy hole on here, but I'm still not sure if that's true or not.
Yeah. So in the midst of this interview, Bambi comes over to harass Dave Burns again, and she accuses him of liking some other woman in Miami.
Oh, Dave's had it.
He's done with this shit, and he throws this scrapbook of their relationship in the water.
They made good use of this little mud hole they dug out.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, here comes Butterscotch on a stolen 10-speed, riding a bike through the crowd.
The most rodeo clown shit I've ever seen in my life, dude.
He does a very bad fake crash off the bike to dismount, and then we go back to the commentators, and there's two other fucking random guys that look like one guy's clearly the other guy's bodyguard, and I don't know what the fuck they're supposed to be doing there, but they're involved in all this. The guy, the Larry Knutson guy, he butts in to the Bambi and Dave conversation, and he starts berating Dave. Mm-hmm. Bambi comes out of nowhere and tackles the guy into the puddle and starts choking him. Yep. And Ralph and Steve Evans have no fucking idea what to do with any of this information. They're just flabbergasted. My dog. Meanwhile, my dog is.
Your dog has no idea what to do with it either. I gotta say, like, while your dog's barking, Dusty Rhodes is just. I don't know if he's drunk or on coke or what it is, but this man is completely untethered to the broadcast. And I might be jumping ahead a little bit here, but my favorite thing that he said in this whole broadcast, and one of my favorite things he's ever said, and I don't even know what it was in context. Maybe it was the fight actually in the extra sippy hole that they dug for all the physical comedy. He goes, "Oh, she barefooted now. That's Florida." And I had to rewind that because, like, there's no way he just said that. That's the funniest shit I've ever heard. But yep, she barefooted now. That's Florida. And I agree.
As a former
agree.
Florida resident, I agree.
Yeah.
So the final race that we see is the V8 Super Stocks, and this one's pretty chaotic. There's one guy that he kind of runs. They mentioned he's running the cushion because he kind of almost drives out of the moat onto like the grass bank on the outside of the track.
Yeah, he's ripping the berm. Yeah.
They think that he's doing this on purpose, and we learn that's not the case after the fact. But so he does that in the next turn, and then he wrecks, like hits the wall that's next to this berm, and like flips and almost gets decapitated by one of his like razor wheels of this fucking contraption. And then the other guy, the guy in second place, like also rolls his, and they all stop. And Dusty says a voodoo witch is to blame for all this. Meanwhile, we get
Incredible.
Oh, go ahead.
Are you about to talk about the party in the pits?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second.
Shut down early.
Are you going to talk about the weenies?
Yeah. Oh, did I not write that in here? I thought I
You
did.
skipped over the weenie part where there's just a random scene that makes no sense, and Pamela's just eating completely burnt black weenies on camera for whatever reason.
I forgot to make a note of that, but yes, I do remember that. So
Thank you,
after this wreck, so now Butterscotch is here to confront Pamela, and he just wants to know why she did this to him. She like kind of lets him down easily and says she blames Larry Knutson, and now Butterscotch has a new target, so he goes off to find him. And the one buggy that hit the wall and flipped was properly titled Scrap Iron, and now it lives up to its name. And he says that move was not on purpose, that he couldn't turn, and that something was broke in his steering, and he didn't realize that at first, which is why he drove into that second turn and rolled the thing. So that is the end of the video, and
It ends with a cliffhanger. I was hoping there was more.
yeah. That's why.
Butterscotch going after Knutson.
That's why I got to find all these broadcasts, because there's clearly some sort of story through all of Dusty's appearances, because, you know, I'm sure all the rest of them were just normal race broadcasts, but with Dusty, they felt like they had to add like a wrestling storyline.
The stuff I grew up watching on TNN did not have Dusty Rhodes, so this was a really harsh change to what I was used to. Even for the broadcasters here, because those guys seem to have no idea. Like you said, they had no idea what to do with this.
Yeah. I mean,
they're trying to announce like cup qualifying like results and all that, and then Dusty Rhodes is just coked up and saying shit. It's so good. But
basically, this shit was the precursor to that worst monster truck show ever that we watched last year. It was very similar vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was just a mess, and I part of me wants to apologize, but clearly you guys enjoyed it, so I won't apologize.
Do not apologize for this. This is the best one. This video covers like every corner of what we've talked about.
Yeah.
Like it really
That's
does,
fair.
and it's a mess, and it's awful television, but I don't know. I feel like that's what we do here in the Video of the Week segment sometimes, and this was perfect.
And it's also kind of like racing of all types was so big at this point that's why they were able to even attempt something like this, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
So, for better or for worse, I guess it was a good time in racing. But any final thoughts, Truelove?
I mean, I don't know if I enjoyed it quite as much as Rob. I feel like...
No, none of us did. None of us did.
What does that say about me?
You know, I love soap operas, but these wrestling soap operas were I was just so confused the whole time.
Yeah.
But really, the most confusing part to me in all of this was, you know, as a kid, I watched wrestling, but I was very young. And I feel like Dusty Rhodes was, like, before my time. So I didn't remember what he sounded like. And then he gets on this broadcast, and I was like, why does he sound like Justin Wilson? The way he kept saying guarantee like 10 times in the broadcast, I was like, he must be like super like New Orleans. And then I looked at his Wikipedia page. I was like, this motherfucker's from Austin, Texas. So I just did not understand what the accent was, if it was like fake.
That was just him.
Like.
That was him.
That's that fake Cajun accent, man.
I went back and like watched an old wrestling video. It's like, all right, let me go watch an old interview of him and see if he sounded like that back then too. And he didn't have the New Orleans accent in the old wrestling video, but he definitely sounded like a white drunk MLK mixed with Rodney Dangerfield to me. So
that's a pretty good description of what the experience is.
He was the working man. He was for all races. He was for all creeds. You know, he appealed to a lot of different people in his heyday. So that's a fair assessment.
Excellent choice.
Well,
this is premium steak for me right here, so I appreciate it.
All right. Well, so for this week's video of the week,
what are you fucking disappointed in me?
I'm not disappointed. I guess I'm a little surprised.
You picked the most white trash video ever. You don't expect me to like it?
So for this week's video of the week, so we've got this week's a big road course weekend. We've got COTA, we've got St. Petersburg, and this one I've had in my back pocket for a minute, and I feel like this is a good time to bring it out. We are going to watch a real road course freak show. Let me pull it up here because I want to make sure I get the title right. Let's see here.
Drum roll, please.
Was it the GSR? The Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières in Montreal.
Wait, is this with the modifieds?
Jesus Christ, Rob, let me fucking get it out. Fuck's sake. Yes, it's the Big Block Modifieds doing a goddamn street course race, okay? That's what we're going to do.
You are hitting on all cylinders this season so far. Hell yeah.
So, unfortunately, the broadcasts are kind of wacky in the sense that like they're not broken up by division. So it's a 10-hour video, but be assured that the race is only an hour. So I got to look at I think it's like around hour 8 and like 8.5 hours into it, because there's
10 hours.
Well, there's like
God, I'll quit this podcast.
No, I'm saying it's only an hour. We're watching an hour of it because there's like
give me the exact timestamp when you.
I gotta get it. Listen, there's like 7 or 8. There's a cast car race. There's other different fucking open wheeled cars. So this is like the entire day's broadcast.
That's
and
cool.
we're just gonna watch the Big Block race. But yeah, we are gonna watch Big Block Modifieds running a asphalt street course.
This is fucking awesome. This is such a weird event.
Yes.
And if you're not from up here, you might not even know this exists. But I'm very excited to watch this. This is great. It's so weird to watch these cars rip around Trois-Rivières. I can't say it, but
they're not supposed to turn. They're not supposed to turn right. So
Dusty Rhodes, New Orleans ass.
Oh, Trois-Rivières over here. Come on.
Oh, all right. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, like we said, we got road course shit up this weekend. So lots to watch as Rob is snowed in, and I'll still be dealing with winter weather here. So
yep.
So yeah, as always, you can follow us on Instagram at meetmeatapplebees, and on YouTube also meetmeatapplebees. I am Speedway Screens on all the things. SpeedwayTSJ.etsy.com is the shop, and MMA Applebees at checkout for 15% off.
Still Snake Mountain Truelove. I don't have anything to promote, but hello? Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fuck. Okay, because I did the thing where I let my screen die, and then it fucked up. Whatever.
Now you're here.
You're fine.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that something kind of neat was my boyfriend picked up a last-minute gig for this weekend. He will be flying to Big Sky, Montana, and shooting the BBI Autosport Porsche team at the Fat Ice Race. So,
oh, shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's never been to anything like that, so I'm very curious to hear how his experience goes. So.
Also, I'd like to give a birthday shout out to Andy.
Yep.
I know that Blackberry Smoke released a song for him. Stay out of his fucking personal space, guys.
Oh, Andy, my dad's a big Porsche guy. He pick him up a Porsche shirt XL if you could. I'd appreciate it.
Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, Montana's fucking beautiful. So that's cool. Rob Motes _unofficial on Instagram. My band's called These Wild Plains. Slowly inching towards the Charlie Marie record coming out here. I believe the first single is going to drop in March, and you'll hear plenty about that. But for now, just a septic tank and watching guys dive into the sippy hole for me. So that's all I got.
Cool. Well, with that, the check is here. So thanks for joining us again at Applebee's, and we'll talk to y'all next week.